Thank you all for your support. So today I'll be talking about things we didn't know or things they didn't tell us about adulthood. You get where I'm going? Adulthood. Things they didn't tell us about adulthood. Things we didn't know about adulting or adulthood. Okay? So but before we start or before we continue, please subscribe, like, comment, share, please, and thank you for your support. Okay? And also tell me if you can relate. Okay? Just comment down in the comment section below and let me know. Okay? So let's get started. But before we do, you understand, right? Okay. The first one is paying taxes. Did you know about paying taxes? How do you feel when you get paid? Let's say weekly you get paid 900 and then you go home with 700. How do you feel? By the way, I'm just joking, okay? We are required to pay tax by law, so please pay your taxes. Pay your taxes, okay? The first one is that one thing, I don't know about you, but for me, one thing about being an adult or adulthood is that the plate is always full. Do you guys feel like that too? So even after you do some of the things that you're supposed to do, the plate is always full. There's always more to do. Can you relate? I know you do. There's always responsibilities and things like that. And maybe you might see me talking like this and you're like, what do you know about adulthood? You're just 22 or you're just 21. I know. But I'm just talking about some of the things that I understood that are my responsibilities and went through and I didn't know before. Okay, so and I know there's a lot of people out there who can relate to this. They didn't know. Okay, maybe they were not told, but their parents. But even if your parents tell you, you can never be fully prepared practically. You know what I'm saying? It's like how you go to school, right? I don't know if you go to school for being a nurse, a doctor, whatever you go to school for. You just learn. But then they take you at this big hospital and you have to start practicing. And that's where your notes come in. You have to start practicing what you learned. So you get it, right? So second thing is that basically what your day to day or what your day entails as an adult, you just don't know until you get there. For example, maybe, there are things that you know you have to do for sure and you do it. But there are other things that you just don't know. You get what I'm saying? Third one is that your friends okay, let me repeat this one clearly. Your friends will drift away, realizing that making and keeping friends is extremely hard, and people drift apart pretty easy. Can I say it again? Another thing is, your friends will drift away. So as you grow up, friends drift away. But also, just realizing that making and keeping friends is extremely hard and people drift apart pretty easy. So personally, I agree with this. I agree with this from the sense of when you are an adult, things have to be more intentional, right? Things have to be so much more intentional. For example, if you have your friend and your coworkers, right? You see each other at work. You don't even have to put in effort to see each other at work, right? Or if you have a friend who you live in the same apartment complex, so just the proximity, or if you're in the same vicinity, you just see each other every day, and you're like, hi, how are you? But then when there's distance, let's say your friend move away from your city, so they go to a different city or country, or they just move to a different apartment complex and a different job. you're not co-workers anymore. So you have to plan and schedule days that you have to meet. So let's say if you work 4 days a week and they work 5 days a week, you go to work, you get home and you're like, oh, I'm so tired. Should I go meet up with my friend? Can we go out? Or should I just sleep? You get it? So sometimes in some friendships, you come to understand or see that they just drifted apart. They're not close anymore. Because the effort that you have to put in to make an appointment with someone, schedule a day to go out and just be together. You can be off on Thursday, but they're not off on Thursday, you know? Even if, so let's say they're off on Friday, you want to rest. You get it? So, and this is why I always say, you have to get friends that, your friendship is not based on just you being in the same apartment complex, or your friend is not based off of just because you're all single, or your friendship is not based on just because you're all married. Because now if you're all single, she gets married, she gets pregnant, she can't go out anymore, and you're like, you know what, oh, we're not friends anymore, you know? So you have to really have that one friend that will be there for you no matter what. You get it? So another thing that I want to talk about is just connecting points of friendship. Sometimes just that you're all classmates, you live in the same apartment complex, just like I talked about, or you all are co-workers and you are close. But then when you move, or when they move, you don't text anymore, you don't call each other anymore, or just because they feel like, you know, you are in a different place, they feel like you just cannot be friends anymore. So I'll say it again, that's why you have to make sure that the friends you have, or the friendship that you have on someone, is not just based off a connecting point. For example, all being single, all being married, all being tall, all having the same problem. There has to be real friendship and love from the heart. And also, one thing that I wanted to talk about was that whenever you grow up, or because you're growing up, or because you're growing, if you know what I'm trying to say, your goals change. Your goals change, your stage change, financially, spiritually, physically, all those kind of things. So these are kind of things that will actually, surprisingly, make your friendship be apart or broken, if you know what I'm trying to say. Because if you and your friend had the same goals, but now you've grown up, you're like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I just have different goals. But then your friend, or you and your friend, start feeling like you can't be friends anymore. You just have to find that one person that you have the same goals. So friendship shouldn't be based on some connecting points. It should just be love from the heart. Okay. Another thing that I want to talk about is as kids, we were not taught to take time preciously. You know what I'm saying? Because now as adults, we're just busy living, going to work, coming back. I don't know, this and this. Sometimes people don't even have time for family. You know, people sometimes are just always at home Saturday and Sunday. In those days, people have to debate between going to see their families or just resting and sleeping. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy, you know? So now it makes me think, that can make you think of all that precious time you had before, when you're still young. Oh, how we wish we could have used it in Kenya. You know what I'm saying? Because now, obviously we love being adults, right? we love being adults. Okay, don't get me wrong. We love being adults. You know, we make money. You don't have to rely on anyone else for money. You can buy whatever you want. But sometimes it's hard with bills. You get what I'm saying? So another thing is taxes. Taxes. You get paid 900. You take home 700. That's crazy, you know. But hey, we're required by law to pay our taxes. So it's okay, right? It's fine. But things are just hectic, and this makes me feel, wow, you know, I'm just, you know, 21 right now. And I'm starting to see things like, wow, you know, I didn't know this. And I'm only 21, so when I'm 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 40, 50, you know, if I live that long, how much more will I have to learn about adulthood and so much more, you know? It's crazy. So that makes me remember that saying that age is wisdom. That's even in the Bible, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not correct, please correct me. But if I remember correct English. If I remember correctly, there's somewhere in the Bible that says age is wisdom. So that makes me feel or think about it. Like, wow, you know. And sometimes when I meet with people who are older than I am, and I talk to them, I can really see the reality of that saying. You know, that age is wisdom. Because I feel like I've learned a lot. I feel like I want to stay close to them so I can learn more. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know. But one thing I want to talk about being an adult, this is something different. So I would say this is something that maybe our parents might have not taught us because their parents didn't teach them. And that is, we were not taught how to parent ourselves. You know, and when I talk about this is about sitting in your emotions, validating your own emotions, and understanding how to operate or act in your emotional world, you know? Do you get it? I'll say it again. So we were not taught how to parent ourselves. That's the first one. And this means sitting in your emotions, validating your own emotions, and then understanding how to operate or act in an emotional world or demeanor, if I'm saying that right. Almost all of us are doing this now as adults. You know, we are learning how to communicate our emotions. You know, we are learning how to have healthy dynamics with our partners. You know, and these all are just things that we really need, and we are learning right now. You know, because as kids, we're not allowed to speak up. How crazy is that? Okay, I'm gonna speak, especially for in the African community. As a kid, when you see something wrong, you can just say it because then that's disrespectful, you know. And when you're out there, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say go to your parents disrespecting them and saying whatever, no. But maybe we could have been taught a way of expressing our emotions, validating our emotions, knowing how to act when we're in our emotional world, you know, communicating our emotions. We could have been taught that way, or how to do it in a healthy way, a respectful way from our parents. But then when you come and look at it these days, most kids were not taught, or were not allowed to speak up about how they feel about anything. You know, you go to school, and you face something, I don't know, this kid did this to you or they touched you badly, you come home, you're afraid, oh my god, if I say this, I'm going to get beat up, I'm going to get a beat up. So that's one thing that a lot of people are learning right now, for example, when you see couples, most couples today, some couples don't know how to communicate their emotions, they don't know how to have healthy dynamics with their partners, friends. You find that they're all toxic, which is crazy. And I think this is why therapists these days are charging a lot, because these things we're learning these days, you have to go to therapists and get help from there. By the way, if you were raised in a way that you were taught those things and all that, that's good for you, that's good. But not all kids were, especially from when we come from Africa. I don't know about other places, but I'll speak in the African community, that's what I know, We just grow up with that fear. And maybe our parents, if we said something, they could have listened. Maybe our parents would have listened. But just growing up in that home of fear, yes, you can't say anything like that disrespectful to our parents. But then because of that, we think even if we express something that's important, they won't listen. Maybe they would have listened, And maybe our parents also don't know how to go about it because they were not taught to do that by their parents. It's a generational curse. Anyways, so I think I'll stop here today. I'm just gonna repeat all the points that I went through again. So the first one I talked about was that the plate is always full. Even if you finish or do what you think you're supposed to do, there's always more on the plate. And I also talked about that there are many things that we're not prepared for practically, especially if your friends did not involve, or if your parents did not involve you in them. For example, taxes, and things like that. And even if our parents did involve us, we also have to remember that we cannot be prepared practically or fully prepared, because we have to be there to experience it, to really learn and understand. Another thing that I talked about is that what your day entails as an adult, sometimes you don't know when you get there. And most of the things someone can teach you, but you never understand. You only understand more when you get there and experience it. Say that. Fourth thing that I talked about was your friends will drift away. And also, as an adult, you come to realize that making and keeping friends is extremely hard. And I said I agree with this in the sense of when you are like an adult, things have to be so much more intentional. For example, if you have friends who are co-workers, you see each other, but if there's a distance between you, you have to make effort to make an appointment, schedule days to meet up, and those kind of things. But also I talked about because you're growing up, things shift so easy. For example, when you are where you are right now financially, it's not where you were a few years ago, or your goals have just done what? They have changed, right? So same thing for your friends. That can make your friends drift apart or drift away, however you want to put it, because they feel like you don't have the same connecting points. And I talked about some of the connecting points. I talked about being classmates in high school or college. You live in the same apartment complex, same vicinity, proximity, those kind of things. Or you work together, or you're all married, or you're all single, and that makes you feel like, oh, you're close because you can connect and all that. But then if there's a distance, if one is married, one is single, the other one is married, or if you're all married, the other one gets pregnant, or if you have a friend who's single, if you have a friend who's married and they get pregnant, they can't go out with you anymore, you think they don't have time for you, or they can't make time for you, or you think you're not supposed to be close, or distance, if they move away, things like that. And that's why I say that whenever you have friends, you have to make sure you have true friends who are not with you because of some connecting points, being single, married, classmates, mm, living in the same apartment complex, co-workers, those kind of things. You have to have friends who truly like you, love you, and care for you. That even if there's distance, the friendship is still there. Even if you're married, the friendship is still there. It was not based on you two being single or you two all being married. Because things change and happen. If you're not married anymore and they're married, they might think, oh, you're not a good friend, things like that. Another thing was we were not taught how to plan ourselves, and I say that this is about sitting in your emotions, validating your own emotions, and understanding how to operate or act in your emotional world. Because almost all of us are doing this right now as an adult, and I talked about that's how therapists are charging more, because people are going to them for help as adults. These are things that we should have learned while still so young. But if you're 20, 21, you still have time. By the time you're 50, you'll be good. This is a good time. But a good time to start is when you're way younger, 16, 10. When kids are being raised, whatever you teach them, they never forget. So it's better you start when they're young. Because, we all know you can't teach an old what? How does that saying go? You can't teach an old dog new tricks. Is that how it goes? Please, I didn't say it right. Correct me in the comment section below. And so we don't know how to set boundaries. Sometimes we don't know how to communicate our emotions or have healthy dynamics with our partners. We're all learning this now. You can't communicate because as a kid you were not allowed to speak out. That's all for today, my people. Thank you for watching my video. Thank you for liking. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for subscribing if you haven't, please do. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Ciao.